Hello, folks, and welcome to another SACPA session. SACPA acknowledges that this event takes place on the lands of the Blackfoot people and the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, and we pay respect to their past, present, and future cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationship to the land. SACPA commits to assist reconciliation efforts by raising awareness of the ways past and present injustices can be reconciled. Today, we're very happy to introduce with us Mahdi and Jennel Taheri. Thank you very much for joining us. Mahdi and Jennel met 6 years ago through a high school friend who deployed 4 times to Afghanistan for the United States military. It was through a friend of a friend on social media that brought them together. Mahdi spent many years serving as a combat interpreter and cultural linguist for the U.S. Special Forces after serving 11 years in the Afghan Special Forces Unit, referred to as the Commandos for the Afghan National Army. After narrowly escaping the Taliban's initial attempt to take over his home of Herat, Mahdi was able to secure a seat in the last flight out of his city for Kabul. Jennel works in safety for the oil and gas industry for many years. She also owned a gym in a small town in BC. Mahdi and Jennel are now married, and he's in Canada, having crossed the border on April 11th. Welcome to Canada. And learning to settle into life in northern BC with friends, family, and a community that has pulled together to support him. Jennel is in the process of hiring on with BC Ambulance as a paramedic, and Mahdi will be opening a small engine repair shop once all his paperwork goes through. Welcome both of you to SACPA, and we look very much forward to your talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I'm Jennel, and this is Mahdi, and we're
Hi.
very happy to speak with you guys. Um, did you want to talk about
You
like
started how we met.
we met online? It was actually curiosity on my part. I had been in a previous relationship where the man was ex-military, and he had opened my eyes to a couple global issues that I was not aware of. And so after that relationship didn't last very long, I started. The Paris bombings happened, and things like that were raising awareness within global regions, but also within our own country as well. So I wanted to know what the media wasn't telling me or what the people didn't know. And so I started researching. And that is how I ended up connecting with Mahdi because through the World Wide Web. And eventually we started engaging into just questions. Every day I had a question for him, breaking a lot of cultural barriers, breaking a lot of assumptions, both like the West has of the East and the East of the West. And it was a good year of everyday talks and everyday just no holds bar on any question that you could ask. And so we got to know each other really well. And in the process, I think we both grew, and we both were in a place where we needed answers, and we just helped each other out in growing personally in our own journeys. And so Mahdi can talk about his previous journey, but that's where I came from as we were starting to talk, because I felt like my world was too insulated via the media. Growing up in a small town in northern Canada, I did travel a little bit, but it wasn't until after I met him that I was able to break some of those barriers. So, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we met online actually. We've been a friend for like almost like a 6 month, and we just sometime. I mean, not the sometime. I always like her picture. She liked my picture. she leave comment, I left comment for her, and finally, one day, she texted me first and wants to know what's going on, like
Who
why,
are you?
like who I am, and why these guys like my picture all the time, which is very a small Instagram page, not something like specific in it, like a my type is like it has to be like a gun or motorcycle or like a fast
Military.
vehicle, you know. But I just told her like, yeah, I like you. I mean, I have a feeling about about you, and I see you, and I wanna know you more. And I asked her to be just talk to me if it's possible. Then yeah, we call. I mean, we make a phone call.
And I asked him every question. I asked him everything that you can think of that you would ask of Afghanistan. I asked it. I started reading books. I started um, listening to audio YouTube videos and everything that I could so that I could understand and as a security risk. And then what happened was I asked him the San Bernardino bombings happened, and I asked him for 3 Western references because I said I didn't want Homeland Security knocking on my door. So so he gave them to me, and they were members of his team that he had served with back in 2011,
Nine,
2012,
nine.
9. And so we have been friends since. And that is where I just took on the responsibility, or I felt it was a responsibility on my part to ask. Don't be afraid to ask the question, because these were serious um, barriers we were breaching, and new subjects that I just needed to know that were possible security risks. So we went through that. Then we ended up going to India. Mahdi has comes from a family of 5 kids. Did you want to talk about that? You were a refugee before you grew up.
Yeah, I mean, after we talk more and more, she, I asked her to come see me, and we see each other. But me and her actually decided she came to Afghanistan to see me. But then my family said no because it's not going to be safe for her. I mean, that time Afghanistan was not bad that in that way because I'm from the big city, and city was a safe. But we like, if she wanna came here, we don't want to keep her in the house like a prisoner, and don't tell anyone Marty girlfriend or Marty future wife is here. We don't want to hide her, and that's why we both decide to go to the India. Like like fly from Afghanistan to India, and she's from fly from Canada to India, and that was actually a good option. That was a good my family suggestion to go to India, and it's gonna be like a quieter, and we're gonna see the India too. I never seen the India, and she never did see the India before that.
Plus, also it was still a Western connection that I could have a backup. I had backup plans just in case. And I remember coming off the plane, I was thinking he was so, oh, what if he's short? But, but he wasn't. He's not.
She always telling me, "Am I gonna see the guys very short under my neck and can say hi to me, and it's gonna be you?" I'm like, "No, I'm gonna be taller than you. Trust me." Which is I'm few inches taller than her.
Anyway, so we ended up moving on from there, and we tried to go back to India a few times, but then COVID hit. We had our trip booked in January of 2020, but then due to his team was busy with the missions and stuff, so he was working in Jalalabad at Camp Dyer, and so we postponed it till April, and then of course May or March was when COVID hit, and so we were trying to get him to come to Canada, but that's a really hard process. We did apply, and then for him to become for a visitor's visa, but then he ended up going through the SIV process, which is a special immigrant visa, work for those who worked for the United States military, and his visa, that process had been it's a 2-year process typically, but yours took a total of like
Like I have to, like for the person need to work 2 years, 2 months to eligible to apply for that process, which is I was eligible for that to
right,
completely,
right.
yeah,
So he ended up going, being approved, went through all his security clearances, and then as of um, July 1st, he was given the email that his visa was ready to be picked up and he was coming to the US for the 11th. So at
like
this
July
time,
2021.
2021,
No, July 2020.
no, 2021,
Yeah, July 2020.
2021,
Yes.
last summer.
Yeah.
So then, but at this time, Afghanistan was getting pretty precarious and
Because
Herat
the US was
pulling out.
pulling out. Yeah, announcing to pulling out.
Right. And um, Herat was getting, he's from Herat, which is on the
Southwest.
west,
Southwest.
southwest coast,
Southwest.
not coast,
Southwest of the Afghanistan.
close to Iran. And it was getting to be quite, the security risk was increasing. Plus his mom was awaiting open heart surgery in Iran. And so he had lots of responsibility to
Yeah.
try and get her to safety, get his sister and brother to safety, and yet still get that last, like at the time of the last plane out to get to Kabul to pick up his visa because they weren't sure at the airport was being closed down um, for security reasons. And so he ended up leaving very abruptly to Kabul to
Yeah.
go pick up your visa. Did you want to talk about this part?
Yeah. Uh, July 9th, I left Herat, and July 11th, July 10th, I was so happy. I buy my ticket also too
To the United States.
to the United States. And July 9th, I called my friend. I told him, listen, here's the money. I'm gonna send you money, and I want you to go to the agency and buy me the ticket for to the United States, which is my ticket was fly from Kabul to Turkey, and the Turkey to
Boston,
Boston, and to Boston,
North Carolina.
North Carolina, to the Charlotte airport. And the ticket was already bought. On July 10th, I was just spend time with my friend in Kabul, and
Just keep talking.
and goodbye to my friend and hanging out with my friend. July 11th, uh, I went to the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, which is the day was my pickup visa at that time.
And Afghanistan was falling fast.
Yeah, and Afghanistan was almost falling fast. Like as far as the street from the bigger city keep falling down. And my ticket was on the July 13th to fly out. And the agency, my friend, buy a ticket. They already say the ticket gonna be not refundable. Are you guys agree with? My friend call me before, like when you are in the process to buy a ticket. I said yes, go ahead, buy it, because I'm gonna get out of this country soon. But July 11, I went to embassy and I walked in after the checkpoint and the search. I walked in and I hand over my phone and all the like a they you're not allowed to take anything with you inside the embassy. The security is very like a high risk there. Then finally I went in with so much wishes, so happy, so excited. I'm gonna get my visa, which is I spent a lot of money for it, and I spent so many years for it, and I'm so excited, and I'm waiting for it a lot. Yeah, and also I'm gonna see her because she can came to the U.S. easily. I walked to the embassy, and I'm in the counter, and they call my name. I walk front of the counter. The immigration officer show me my passport, and I'm so excited. Yeah, they show me my passport. They open my passport and the page of the visa, and they say, "Is that you?" I'm like, "Yes, Mahdi Taheri." And I can see my visa, but I can't really see the stamp they put on my visa, which is it's very weird. I can't see it really. It's like a few feet, but I can't really see it. But I can see there's something on my visa. It's like a stamp. And I said, yes, that's me. He brought it closer to me and handed it to me.
Okay, it seems like Skype's hung up on us. Bear with us, folks, and we'll try and reconnect. It looks like we've lost the Skype connection. I'm trying to connect with them over another medium to see if they can call in again. Sorry about that technological hiccup. We'll just keep trying for a few minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just shut off.
All right, we're back on. Um, we kind of left off with you. We kind of left off hanging there in your story because Skype disconnected just as you were. They were handing the visa with you, so
That's
I
okay.
felt like
We're
it
gonna
was a
back to it.
cliff. It was a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And are we live now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The officer handed to me the visa from that gap under the counter, handed to me, and I open it and I see the visa now in my passport, actual visa, but with a stamp on it, big stamp, black, say canceled without prejudice. I'm like, excuse me, what is that? He's like, because there was almost 20 or 25 people left, and they waiting to pick up the visa. And it's almost 4 or 3:30 afternoon, and he's like, sorry, we don't have time right now to explain you, but we will let you know what's going on. But at this time, we can't do anything, and your case back to the administrative process. I'm like, but I need an answer. I already buy my ticket. I need to leave. I'm not from the Kabul, and I have no place to live here, and I just packed my whole stuff to leave the country. Why are you guys doing this? He's like, sorry, it's not me. Someone else made the decision, and
Plus,
right now you just need to leave, and we can't help you.
plus they were evacuating the embassy. They were closing the embassy. They
They
were not.
evacuating people and also embassy, like evacuating people, like those people already got a visa but don't have a money to buy a ticket and leave the country. The United States just helping them to leave, and they don't have time for, if someone got a issues with his visa or something, they just put it on the at the last if they going to help. But they just going straight, just help the people is on the line and their stuff is, or their document is clean. But that was not my problem. That was a kind of uh, some paperwork issues to someone did it during the process, yeah. But when they go back through to the visa, to when they issue the visa and they're gonna hand it to you, they say, "Oh, there's issues. Oh, let's cancel this. We're gonna fix this later." But that I was on the very bad time, and the Afghanistan wasn't falling and falling and falling. Yeah, then I left the embassy, and as soon as I get my phone from the gate, security gate, I call her. She was waiting, kind of half asleep, half awake, waiting to my like waiting for my good news. Yeah, and I show her my visa, and I'm like, this is what's going on. She's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I can't leave country, and this is what happened." She's like, "Why? What happened? Did you talk to them?" I'm like, "They didn't give me any answer."
He was so heartbroken. In fact, he told me this was the last time he was going to talk to me because there was no way that he can fix it in time. His country was falling.
Then
He went back home.
yeah, then I walking back that street. That street walk drive through to the embassy. It's a long distance, and they keep that very very secure to, and not really vehicle can't go to that road. It has to be like 2.5 kilometer to you walk out from that road, end up to the embassy. And my three of my friend, which is one of them taxi driver, they are waiting for me on the actual road. And I back to the car with my friend, and they're so happy, and they waiting for me. I took them to the restaurant, and the dinner gonna be on me because I have my visa, yeah. And I told them, "Guys, my visa is canceled." They're like, "What?" They so confused. They're like, "What we should do? What we should do? Let's do the inquiry. Let's do the ask the call the embassy." I'm like, "For now, nothing's working." And what I did, and me and my friend, we back to the ticket agency, and we told them to cancel my ticket, but they said, "We already told you guys the ticket's not gonna be refundable. Sorry." What they said, what we can do, you have to pay $200 extra to be extend your ticket to the next month or next 2 months, and we extended for the next 45 days to hopefully get an answer from the embassy and then rebook it again. Then I fly back home that day after.
There was an uprising from a local warlord that pushed back the Taliban, so
Yeah,
Herat
we are
became more
not there.
stable.
We are not there. I
But
back home.
yeah,
I back home, and I was home, and my home was a district 15 kilometers away from the central of the city, but very kind of bad area at that time because it's a village, and it's always anytime the bad things happening in my town, it's to start from that village and that little district. And every night we can hear the gunshot getting closer and closer to my house, which is my house was also close to the river called Pashtun Pole. It's a bridge. And also my house is like a 50-meter away, or maybe 50 or 100 yard from the United Nation compound, which is the United Nation in my town was located where I live, very close. And I remember was a the date was maybe August 1st or something, or August 5th. I'm not really, but somewhere starting August. That was 10 o'clock at night. My dad friend, which is that time my dad working for the police headquarters in Herat, and his commander actually, his upper commander friend, he called my dad 10 o'clock at night. And when my dad answering the phone call, uh, I can hear my dad talking with him. It's a weird conversation. The guy, my dad friend, telling him, if something's going to happen, and if you hear the gunshot and bombing and stuff, it's gonna go bad. Herod about to fall down. Just go to the basement. And my dad keep repeating, say, "Go to the basement." Why? Then he's hanging up the phone. I asked my dad, "What's going on? Who was he?" My dad say, "My friend from the police headquarters." and say Herat is about to fall down and the Taliban ready to attack the city now because they're already occupying and taking all the district from the government. Only the city is left, but city is a big city. It's a 4 million people in the city. But there's a what happened that night? There was an uprising. One of the old previous Mujahideen's leader was in the Herat. He is still alive, but he was there. But the Taliban was worried the people uprising, which is led by that Mujahid leader, name is Ismail Khan. He is waiting in the city for the Taliban. That was the Taliban's gas. That's why that night they didn't attack the city. I walked to the roof of the house, which is I was in the summer and the warm season. I always sleep on the rooftop with the tent. And I walked to the rooftop, try hear what's going on. That night was one of the quietest night in my life in that city, in my town, because I hear nothing from the city. Like there was no car, which is my house is close to the highway. I can hear no semi truck, no bird, even no dog barking. That was a quiet. It's like a zombie land because everything was shut down and everybody was run away to their house and be quiet because they are scared the Taliban is going to attack to city tonight. That night was over finally, and tomorrow my brother he drive to the town, which is there's a two police checkpoint close to my house under the bridge. And my brother drive there early in the morning, and he come back home. He said, "There's no cops, there's no government, there's no police, there's no army in this checkpoint. They already left this checkpoint last night." But that night, the Herat didn't fall down. 5 days later, and but the Taliban keep pushing and pushing the city, try to take over the city. And few days later, I was at the my shop at the work, which was a motorcycle business and mechanic shop. And one of my friend came to me and he said, "Let," because he already know where I'm living, and he said, "Listen, go take your family from home and bring him to the city, like inside the city, because that area going to be taken by the Taliban. They're ready to big attack." I'm like, "How do you know that?" He said, "My friend live in that village, that bad village, which is already fighting it. They are left, and the Taliban's keep pushing them. Which is that village from my house is 30 minutes. I drive back home, and uh, I told my mom just take what the stuff you need, and I took my mom and sister. But my brother said, "I'm not gonna leave the house. This is the house we actually built after many years. It's a brand new house. There's our stuff is here. I'm not gonna leave. I stay in the house. You take mom and sister, and you don't need to come back. I stay in the house." I called my dad. I said, "This is what's going on." He said, "Yes, it's okay. I'm gonna come back home and stay with your brother, but you take your mom and sister to the city." I drive to the city to my big brother house, which is his house was in the central of the city, kind of safe. And to then it's go very bad actually. It's getting very worse. We can hear the big gunshot and heavy bombing and maybe the rocket firing. Even in the city, you can hear.
And you're a security risk because of
Yeah,
your
and I'm hiding myself because every Herat is a big city, but a lot of people know me too because I work, I serve for the military, for my military for 11 years, and they know I work as a linguist for the American for many years. But the ways they know me more because I have a business side too. I'm a part of the motorcycle racing in my town, and people know me. And
and they need money.
yeah, they going to sell me. Yeah, the people looking to find people like me to sell it to the Taliban and just make money. And I'll call my friend. My brother actually told me, my bigger brother, he's 2 years older than me. He told me, listen, can you leave Herat and go to Kabul and just live in the Kabul, see what's going to happen to Herat? Because Herat is very bad now. And that's the capital. That's the Kabul. It's gonna be safer. All the government is there, and some American is still there, and it's gonna be safe for you because you're gonna be threat for the yourself and the family. You're gonna put yourself in trouble and the family. I'll call my friend ticket agency, and he said there's no flight. There's a fight around the airport of Herat, and there's no really good flight. But I will put you on my list. The soonest flight open, I will call you. And for 2 days, I hiding myself in my big brother house in the city. For 2 days, I'm just not leaving the house, just live on the third floor of my big brother house. My mom and sister there. My big brother, he's a military and he is in the corps in the Herat, in the military unit. I telling him, you need to come back home and leave your job. But he said, no, I am gonna stay and this is my job and I have a responsibility. I'm like, okay, it's on you. The day third morning, I just kind of upset to what's going on and I have nothing to do here anymore. I call my ticket agency friend. I say, there's any good news about the flight? He said, it's good to you call me because there's a two flight and the airport is open, just open, and there's a two flight going to Kabul. I'm gonna put you in the first flight. But I said, what time? He said 2 o'clock. Just get in the airport. And it's already 11 o'clock. And I just run out to the house, find a taxi. The taxi in my town is not like a Uber. You have to go walk in the street to find a taxi. I walk in the street, I find a taxi. I said airport. He said he gave me a very big price. I'm like, why? He's like, that road is very bad. The Taliban is on it, and it's war. It's bad there during the airport because it's a district. And he's giving me like a double price for the taking me to the airport. I'm like, it's okay. But from there, he took because my house is the highway going to the airport. It's also going to my house. I drive to my house, and my brother was so disciplined. Like he was so disciplined. He said, "Listen, the flight is starting. Start, and I can't sleep." I'm like, "I'm going to Kabul." He's like, "Just go. Just leave this town. It's not safe for you." I grabbed my duffel bag, I put in a taxi, I drive to the airport. When I went to the airport, the drive-through was line of the vehicle, like a lot of vehicle on the line, try to get inside the airport. I see there's no way I'm gonna be late. I left the I left the taxi. I grabbed my duffel bag, which was a military duffel bag, very heavy. I grabbed that with my backpack. I run into the airport. When I walk to the airport salon, lot of people. It's like a thousands people inside the airport try to leave Herat. And most of them, 90% was the people, like they're Afghan citizens for the other country. They're stuck in the Herat. They have no way to leave. And some white people, black people. I'm like, what these people doing here? And they waiting for the flight and all the ticket got canceled and mixed up. But finally I left Herat with my flight. Flight after me was a 30-minute after me was the second flight got canceled because the fight is start on the airport. And I didn't tell Janelle, but when I left her message say I'm leaving Herat to the Kabul. But then I fly out to the Kabul. Then when she woke up, She saw my message. Then I left her messaging and say, I'm in Kabul. Don't worry, I'm in Kabul and it's safer.
You might want to just wrap up quickly about just crossing the gate, like just.
I've been in the Kabul for 10 days, don't know what to do. Also, United States military, not the United States military, Department of State, they put me on the relocation. They sent me the email on the relocation process, but the relocation process was so mixed up too, like it's so kind of messed up. And they can't really find people where they are and tracking people. They relocate some people, but I was there on that list, but they didn't contact me back. Then Kabul fall down in the August 15th. Before that, I know it. I need to leave this country, but no matter where, even India, Dubai, Turkish. But I I went to some ticket agency and India embassy, but I can't find a visa. Packed of people waiting for visa and leaving Afghanistan. Then August 15th, Kabul was fall down, and I am living with my friend, and he's a linguist too, but he's in the United States now, and we don't know what to do. His brother linguist too, he's in the United States. We don't know what to do. The Kabul is fall down, and we are living the apartment complex, and yeah, we are seeing the Taliban just driving around our house on the street, their flag, and we like, what are we gonna do? And I'm in also contact with the people, try to find a way to put me in the flight manifest. Jennel actually digging, looking everywhere, every possibility to take me out of the Afghanistan. Finally, my friend Mike Syverson, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Syverson, I worked with him when he was a captain. I worked with him in 2018 as a when he was a major in Afghanistan, but now he's a Mighty Colonel. But that time he was a Lieutenant Colonel, and he worked for the that time he was working for the NATO Special Operation Headquarters in the Belgium, and he is being contacted me. Many other American friends contact me and they say what they can do, but they can't actually do anything. But he knows someone inside the Echkaya Kabul airport, and the lieutenant colonel from the 82nd Airborne Army, and he contact him and he said if he can reach out to the gate, there's a possibility we can get him in because there's a thousands people on the street to the airport and on the gate. Like it's for the 1 meter or 2 feet walk, it's gonna takes 1 hour because they nobody lets you go in. People just stand in front of each other. But on the August 18th, my and I don't know how to go to the airport. I'm so scared to leave the house. But I told my friend, listen, sitting in the house is not gonna help. You and I gonna I'm gonna call that our taxi driver friend, and he's gonna take us to the airport. But my taxi driver friend, he was from Kabul originally, and he knew all the small street alley, and like some the road is not going to the Taliban checkpoint, and he knew all the road is to the end of the airport. And what he did a very good job. But we end up to the one checkpoint, but the Taliban was just looking for gun. They opened my bag and they took a look into it, and I have my military badge, but they're under my back. But they just take a look, they see nothing, they close it. They say they're looking for the gun. Yeah, but and when we end up to the airport, my friend, and we can see there's no way to this taxi go through more, and we say goodbye to him, and he's when we start walking to the airport. When we started walking to the airport, that gate was picking up the people. Name was Abbey Gate. We have some video and picture to hopefully share you guys later. We walked to the airport to the Abbey Gate, and that time August 18, who was allowed or who they how they let people in. The people got a visa or a passport from the Western country, American green card. That's it. They call and I saw the guy on the gate. They brought the vehicle the inside the gate. They brought the vehicle closer. They can stand up on it to talk to the people, see how many people got a Western passport or visa from this country or American green card or other Western country permanent residency, which is their Afghan. And I talked to one of the guy, he was on the door, and I told him, I have a visa. He's like, just hang on. And I have my friend with me, and I'm half like that guy was helped me a lot, and I worked with him as a linguist for 2 years. He's like my family, they take care of me a lot, but he is scared to leave, and he's behind me. He's a short, tiny, not a short, but he's a very tiny guy. And I all this process getting to the gate, it takes 3 or 4 hours, might be 5 hours. He is close to me. I have him, but he is getting separate from me, and I telling him to stop, get separate from me. The gate gonna get open. We're gonna push ourselves inside the gate. The first time I was about to go, the gate got open. I was about to go in, but then I look behind me and I saw him. He is separate from me, like almost 10 feet. And if I go in, he is not going to be able to get inside. Then I turn my face, get punched in the face by the British soldier. That time, the British military, they doing running their operation to get their citizen inside and getting this European citizen inside. I said, "Why you punching me?" He's like, "You push it." In a British accent. I can't say it, but he's like, "You push yourself to the gate." I'm like, "I didn't," but he punched me in the face. That was not hurt really, but I was upset why he punched me in the face. And I turned back. I told my friend, "Why you didn't get close to me?" He's like, "I don't want to go. I don't know what to do. That was so dangerous." I'm like, "Stay close to me." The second attending I getting wanted to try get inside the gate was not possible because the British soldiers sawing there's more people pushing and they brought more soldier and they just make a, like a line in front of the people and there's no way to getting inside for the second attending. And we walked back to that shadow. That was a hot day. It's August. And we walked back sitting in the shadow. There was a guys who was selling ice cream. We buy some ice cream and some water. And I took my friend Mike Syverson. I said, "Sir, I'm going back home and come back night. Might be that time I can get inside the gate." He's like, "You are not going anywhere. Just wait." Just he said, "Go to the gate. There's a guys on the tower calling you. Name JJ." What happened? I hang up the phone. I told my friend, "Let's go. There's a guys waiting for us." Then it's like a gap. It's like a little bit river, just the trash water going from the airport going to the some other side. But there's a gap. We can just jump from that. It's a massive. It's like a 10 feet long. But I can hear the guy on the tower. He's American calling JJ. Who is JJ? And I'm like, "It's me," but he can't hear me. Then I walk through to the gate. My friend is in front of me. I have my friend behind me, and I'm in front of him. And he keep now I'm close to the gate, like a 25 feet or 20 feet, getting closer and closer. And he said, "Who is JJ?" I'm like, "It's me." Then like gate open, and he's like, "Are you JJ?" I'm like, "It's me." He grabbed my shoulder, he pulled me inside, and I grabbed my friend. I don't want to leave him. We get inside the gate, but I thought we are gonna be only people get inside the gate. Look behind me, it's like a zombie movie, like the gate opening or like the door like a broken and the zombie attacking people like a storm getting inside the gate like a my opinion was when they opened the gate to take me inside, more than 500 people get inside that gate. Yeah. And we just pushed in to the we are inside, but they when we getting inside, the soldier asked us to stop in this spot. but we can see the people just keep coming on us. Then we just pushed in and pushed in, but we got across. But when I look behind me, when I take a look at the people, you know how many people I see that are bare feet? Because that was summer, so many people they wearing the flip flop and the sandal, and because there's the people stepping on each other and they have no shoes, they are bare feet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But we got inside. We have a we have a longer story about what happened after that, and we can see we have no time. Our time limit is finished. We will come back to you guys about the rest of the story.
Okay.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Wow, that's quite a powerful story. We've got some questions in the queue, so I'm just going to ask them. But the quality of the camera is really quite bad, and I'm afraid we're going to lose the connection again. Can you turn off the video so that we only have audio? Because the camera quality coming through is really bad. And that way, at least we can hear you speak. Yeah, thank you. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, that's great. Um, our first question comes from Knut Peterson. How was the Taliban able to regain power that easily in Afghanistan?
Say again, sorry.
How was the Taliban able to regain power that easily in Afghanistan? That's a loaded question.
Yep.
You want an honest question or just they give it to them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they give it to them. They didn't take over Afghanistan. They give it to them. They are give it to them because they thought they're gonna run that country better. If anyone say the Taliban take over Afghanistan, it's just a lie. They give it to them
Okay.
because someone else decide to they can run better. 100%.
That's the short answer.
Yeah,
I'm
they
sure.
didn't take over Afghanistan.
Good. Our next question comes from Mark Goodall. Amazing story. Thank you for sharing. Is the rest of your family still in Afghanistan? And if so, are there plans for them to leave? Would this be possible during this time?
My big brother, he's in Abu Dhabi right now. What happened? Jennel helped him after he contacted me multiple times when I was in Doha, and he's like, "What I'm gonna do in this city? I have no money, I have no job, and I left the military just with the days Herat fall down, and the Taliban was announcing anyone serving the military and work for the government, they supposed to surrender themselves to the to the Taliban government, and that time he did it, and they have his name and his contact number and his house address, everything. But we was lucky to Janelle was at that time when I was in Doha, she was working for the one of the NGO helping people left in Afghanistan after the August 30, which is the operation of the evacuation was done in August 30, and they help, and Janelle actually put my brother on the list, and that NGO took my brother out of Afghanistan with his wife and two daughter from Mazar Sharif with this charter flight, and now he's in the Abu Dhabi. But my dad and my big brother, which is he's 2 years older than me, with one of my sister, they're in Afghanistan. They're okay. They're okay. They're safe. But the only issues is the economy's collapse. They got a bad economy issues,
Mhm.
but I'm supporting them.
We still are trying to figure out how Doha, if you've been following it, is kind of a really gong show via multiple reasons. But because his brother Ali is registered with the American process, we can't get him out. We have to somehow get him to the Canadian process, but it's a gong show. So, and we're still dealing with Mahdi's case. So now that he's in Canada, we did let the Canadian government know that he has a brother and family in Doha. But moving on from there, we're not like we're still in that process of dealing with that.
Our next question comes from British City News. Can you explain the process it took to get into Canada? What can the Canadian government do better in bringing in refugees into the country? Trudeau says dealing with the Taliban has been tough. So that's actually three different questions. Do you want to take them one at a time?
Sure. So Mahdi actually ended up coming to Canada, I believe March 24th, not April 11th. Or was it? Yeah, it was March 24th. We crossed I went down. He was in a place, there wasn't a lot of support for them. They were in a town that was.
Let's just be clear, just clear this. Sorry.
Okay.
I evacuate after Afghanistan. I evacuate to the Doha, then Doha to United States, and that's why I was working for the United States. I have a case for the United States, and I was able to apply for the green card, which is I have a green card interview on the June 1st, in the next few days. But I am abandoned that, and also I gave up my American green card for the Canadian permanent residency.
Right, but we ended up bringing him to Canada for support, and there's lots of PTSD and our family and our community. All his support is here in Canada. It's been 6 years, so I just went down. I put him in my car and I drove him across. As soon as we got to the border, I said, "This is my husband." We had all our papers ready, all our military papers, and they were so accommodating and so gracious. But the only thing that I would say that has been kind of a nightmare is we are in central interior BC. We're not in the greater Vancouver area where all the services are. So we have a couple processes that we are, it's total foreign to us. For instance, him getting his driver's license, they wouldn't give him his driver's license because he had to prove his history, and they're like, "Well, could you please get it from your government?" And I'm like, "Okay, let me just email the Taliban and see if they can send us his things like that." And so we've had to navigate through that. In terms of government wise, Justin Trudeau, we're still very much in the raw stages of he's got a visa, but his case has not been fully, he hasn't got his work visa yet, or his permanent residency, which we're told takes about 3 months. But so we're still in the midst of that. And if you would ask us that question maybe 3 months from now, and we've then gone through the hoops and the hurdles, we probably could answer that question with a little more clarity at that time. There are definitely some issues, but we're not ready to answer those at this moment.
Right. There's
Did I get all three questions?
Yeah, the last one is Trudeau says dealing with the Taliban has been tough.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Mark Goodall has another visa question regarding the initial visa in your story when you entered the United States Embassy. Did you ever get an explanation as to why your initial visa was cancelled when they put that black stamp on it?
They didn't give me any answer, which is after I left the embassy, the inquiry, they didn't answer my inquiry. My friend Mark Saracen and also my other two POC, American POC, they contact embassy. They actually called the embassy.
Well, they went through their senators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't got an answer because the embassy was on the pressure of the time of just evacuate and issue the visa for those people as actually left. But this guy's, because he got some paper issues, just he can't wait. But we have most people, more people to evacuate and giving the visa and issue the visa.
It eventually got cleared because he couldn't get to Canada or to the US without it being cleared.
Yeah.
But it took the process, and in the while he was being processed in Doha.
When I was in the Doha, they took me to the process. which is a lot of people was in that process too. They took me to the process and they clear that.
Okay. Um, the next question is from Knut Peterson. Regarding my first question, and I'll just read that. His first question was, how was the Taliban able to regain power that easily in Afghanistan? So he follows up by saying, regarding my first question, that's what I suspected when you answered. Taking that answer further, are there anyone or country in particular to blame for that handover to the Taliban?
United States government.
Mm-hmm.
The person actually asked this question, he already knew the answer.
I suspect so, yes.
Yeah. Let's say he know that, and also he already know that.
Okay,
Yeah.
great answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
A great answer. There you go, Knut. Okay, that was it for the questions in the queue. We've got quite a lot of thank yous. Penny, Elford, thank you for sharing your amazing story. Beth
you, Penny.
Mundell, thank you for telling us your riveting story. Wishing you all the best in Canada, and that to your and that your brother joins you. Oh,
Hopefully. Hopefully.
yes, we all hope that. Thank you very much on behalf of SACPA for joining us today. Before we wrap up the session, do you have a take-home message for us?
um, well, just reflecting back on it all in the journey, I would just say that for myself, I've never had to take inventory of my priorities in such a manner. Even just me and this small town girl in northern BC, working with the NGOs and the evacuation process, and then also dealing with Mahdi and that whole process. That family is so important, and that there are some things that we like in our current political climate that we think are major issues, which are minor. Those are not the things that we need to be worrying about. So that's just you can speculate, interpret that how you'd like, but you definitely appreciate the countries that you're from, and then also take inventory of what's important and what's not important, and what's streaming your news feeds.
Thank you. We've got a couple more messages come in, or one more message come in from Penny. Says, I hope you can come back and speak to us again when you get more settled. It was nice to see you both. And I know before the live stream we talked about the possibility of an update once everything settles for you. So I'm sure SACPA will come back to you in a year or so.
There is definitely a part two, but and we would love to share it with you when the time is right.
Lovely, we'd love to have you. And folks out there, we hope you'll join us next week, Thursday, for Dwayne Brett, who will be speaking to us on how are Albertans likely to be affected by the recent UCP leadership review. We look forward to that. And with that, I'll end the live streaming. Thanks very much for joining us.